On the morning of September 15, 2017, police were called to a quiet suburb in Rockford, Illinois. A neighbor had noticed something strange: the front door of the Weston home wide open, the family car still in the driveway, and no sign of Daniel Weston, a well-known local IT consultant. What they found inside was nothing short of horrifying: Daniel's lifeless body, sprawled in the hallway, a single gunshot wound to the chest. No forced entry. No sign of struggle. Just one body, and one burning question: who would want Daniel Weston dead? The answer would shake the community to its core. To everyone who knew them, Daniel and Victoria Weston were the picture of domestic perfection. Daniel was 38, a self-made man who had risen from modest beginnings to head of cybersecurity at a private tech firm. He was known for being meticulous, soft-spoken, and fiercely loyal to his family. Victoria, 35, was his high school sweetheart and the mother of their two children, ages 9 and 11. A part-time yoga instructor, Victoria was active in local charities and PTA meetings. With their white paneled house, annual beach vacations, and holiday cards with smiling faces, the Westons seemed like the American dream come to life. But perfection, as it turns out, can be the perfect disguise. Behind closed doors, things weren't so idyllic. By mid-2016, Daniel had grown distant. Long work hours, the stress of layoffs at his company, and a growing sense that something was off with Victoria had strained their marriage. She was spending more time away: long yoga retreats, unexplained absences, and an emotional distance he couldn't quite name. At first, he blamed himself. He worked too much. Maybe he wasn't romantic enough. But his instincts kept nagging him. And soon, he had proof. In October 2016, Daniel found an unfamiliar receipt from a downtown hotel. Then a burner phone tucked deep in Victoria's gym bag. On it were texts from someone saved only as J. "He's gone all week, you coming over? Miss your skin on mine. Can't wait till he's out of the picture." Daniel didn't confront her right away. Instead, he hired a private investigator. Over the course of 3 weeks, the PI confirmed the worst: Victoria was having an affair, not just a fling, but a full-blown relationship with someone named Jason Colburn. Jason wasn't just anyone. He was their former neighbor, a contractor, divorced, rough around the edges. Someone Daniel had once helped fix his car. The betrayal was total. What Daniel didn't know was that Jason Colburn had a record: 2 previous arrests for domestic abuse and 1 for firearms possession. Victoria had fallen hard, drawn to his wild, protective energy. But Jason had a dark side. He was jealous, controlling, and obsessed with the idea of being with Victoria without Daniel in the way. According to messages recovered later, Jason began pushing the idea of eliminating Daniel. "Jason, we can't keep living in the shadows. He's in the way." "Victoria, don't say that. You don't mean that." "Jason, I do. We deserve our life. You and me. No more hiding." By early 2017, Daniel had confronted Victoria. She admitted to the affair and agreed to counseling. For a time, it seemed things might recover. But the damage was deeper than anyone realized. Victoria never stopped seeing Jason. In July, a series of messages between them laid out something chilling. Jason would come in through the back door on a night Victoria claimed to be out. He would use Daniel's own gun, stored in a safe in the bedroom, a gun Victoria had the combination to. It would look like a break-in. On the night of September 14, Victoria kissed her children goodnight, told Daniel she was heading to a yoga retreat out of town, and left. In reality, she met Jason at a motel 10 miles away, waited until dark, then drove him back to the house. At 2:13 a.m., Jason entered. The alarm system had been disabled manually. He found Daniel asleep on the couch, and with cold resolve, shot him once in the chest. The autopsy showed Daniel had barely woken before dying. What was meant to look like a break-in was poorly staged. Nothing was taken. Drawers were pulled but not emptied. A smashed lamp appeared deliberate. When police arrived, they immediately sensed something wasn't right. There were no signs of forced entry. No fingerprints except those of the family. And Victoria, when questioned, was unusually calm. A neighbor's security camera later showed a dark SUV idling near the Weston house around 2 a.m. The vehicle matched the description of a car registered to Jason's business. Jason was brought in for questioning on September 20th. Under pressure, his story cracked. He claimed it was all Victoria's idea. That she told him Daniel abused her, a claim that had no evidence, and that she would handle the rest if Jason just helped. Victoria was arrested 2 days later. Both were charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and obstruction of justice. The town was stunned. The woman who hosted neighborhood bake sales and volunteered at shelters was now accused of plotting her husband's death. The trial began in the summer of 2018. Prosecutors painted a damning picture, a calculated, slow-burn conspiracy driven by lust and selfishness. They showed text messages, financial records, even an email draft Victoria had written days before the murder in which she rehearsed what to say to police. Jason's defense claimed he was manipulated, seduced, and lied to. Victoria's defense portrayed her as emotionally abused and fearful of her husband, claims the children, family, and evidence did not support. Jason received life in prison without parole. Victoria was sentenced to 40 years, with the judge citing her role as morally indefensible. The Weston children were taken in by Daniel's sister, who moved across the state to give them a fresh start. They were present in court during sentencing. When asked if they wanted to speak, the older child stood and said, "My dad loved us. He didn't deserve what happened. She was supposed to protect us, not destroy us." Their words were brief, but devastating. Daniel Weston's story wasn't just another domestic tragedy. It was a brutal reminder that betrayal, when fed by obsession and selfishness, can end in bloodshed. His name now sits on a memorial plaque at his former workplace, where colleagues hold an annual Integrity Day in his honor. Victoria's name, once spoken with admiration, is now associated with one of the most cold-blooded crimes in Rockford's history. The Weston home was sold 6 months later, quietly, and at a loss. But some say, late at night, when the wind moves just right, the porch light flickers as if the house itself remembers.